Blake Koppel, and I'm the president this year. The secretary, extremely important to our club. I'm Bill Jackson. Wave, hi. Our treasurer, also very important to our club, is Bill Thomason, and he apologizes. He had an appointment rescheduled to right now, so he wasn't able to make it. Our immediate past president, also not here, and I assume it's because he's working a funeral, is Chris Ross. And our next president, who will take over on July 1st, Jim Neal, who you know. And some others of us are directors, committee chairs. You know, we all spread the load to get the work done. But if you need anything from the Lions, if you have any ideas to float with us, reach out to any of us. We'd love to talk with you. Okay? Great. Now, turn it over to you.
Thank you. We'll get started on a few things. We're going to go over some of the operations of how we handle our business at FPU. I won't be able to go through every slide in as much detail because if I did, it's going to take quite a while, but if nobody has to go to work, I'll be glad to cover all of it. But I'm going to touch on the high points of everything that we try to do. This right here is all departments. We got telecom, natural gas, wastewater, water, and electric. So, and we treat every department the same. The biggest challenge that we have, we cannot commingle funds. So we can't take electric funds, spend it on gas or water. We can't take gas or water funds and spend it on electric or telecom. So right now we are spending some of the electric funds on the telecom side because we're building fiber throughout the county, and we have to be sure that we keep it separate of what we're controlling on the electric side as far as our breakers, our reclosers, our electronic equipment that we can operate here from the office. Gas department customers, a little over 6,303 miles of line. Water department, 4,000. Wastewater, a little over 3,000. Electric, we got 19,158. Telecom right now, we got a little over 4,000. And that number increases every day because we're building more fiber out into the community as far as the rural. We're up toward Elora, the county line. We're way over toward the west side of the county because our electric side covers actually all the way over on the other side of the interstate. So we serve the entire county, plus we go into Bedford County a little bit, Marshall County a little bit, Franklin County a little bit, and then we got 3 customers, I think, in the state of Alabama. These are just part of the organizations that we're part of, that we have to participate with. It helps us get laws passed. So you can see that we deal with several. You got the Middle Tennessee Industrial Development, Tennessee Valley Authority, who is very, very important. They actually regulate what we can do on the electric side. Like if we have an increase on rates on the electric, it has to go through TVA for approval, and they might not approve it or they might approve it, but we have to do a cost of service study to justify it any time that we get ready to have a rate increase. On the water and wastewater side, we work with MTAS, comes in and does a study, and then we go through the same process of where we need to be on our rates with all the projects that we got coming up in the future. EPA, a big part, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, North American Electric Reliability Corporation. That's just like when TVA says you gotta have a rolling power outage, that's who I gotta answer to with TVA, because if I don't have the rolling power outages, we get in trouble by not doing what TVA says that we have to do. Expenses under management control. You can see on the electric, 10.33%. Now this is since fiscal year 2011. So you can see that our expenses has not gone up much at all of what we can control. We can't control what outside resources, like right now the cost of transformers is almost triple. We used to get a 15 kVA transformer, $4,000 or $5,000. Now you're gonna pay close to $25,000 or $30,000 for that same transformer. So all that expenses has tripled in some things. Natural gas, only 10.84% since fiscal year 2011. Water and wastewater, 0.22% since fiscal year 11. And telecom, 47.19% since 2011. That's because we've been able to get all these grant funds to build fiber out in the rural community. Water and wastewater capital improvements. Back when I came into this position, the water and wastewater side, you can see from 1995 all the way to about 2009, it was flat. That means there wasn't anything being done on the water and wastewater system. And the parts of that system is 50 to 60 years old. And so now, you know, if you don't do anything about it, sooner or later, you're gonna start having lots of problems. And that's what it happened. We got in a moratorium, back in 03 and 05. I came in 07 to 09, is that right? That's right. And then, you can see that how much more improvements we've been doing, because we've spent now a little better than $40 million on the infrastructure for the water and wastewater, and got that much more to do. So we borrow money from grants, we get a lot of forgiveness money through the state revolving fund loans, so we get cheap money, like 1.9% interest, and we take that money and we put it all back into plant. Local taxes paid. You know, we're almost $2 million that we pay to the city of Fayetteville. That's in lieu of taxes that we pay them every year. But it increases every time we get more assets and build new. It costs us more money in lieu of taxes. Ardmore, we got Petersburg. We pay Lincoln County almost $500,000. We pay Giles County, Marshall County, and Franklin County. Gas department, the capital projects for this upcoming year, we got a little over $1 million. Water and wastewater, a little over $7 million. Electric department, a little over $9 million. Telecom, a little over $1 million. And we just got our loans approved by the state. That's up to $18 million that we're gonna be spending on water and wastewater. And over half of that is forgiveness money. So really it's only gonna be paying back a little over $9 million to the state. This is the gas department, increase in lead times, like risers or gas meters. You can see the lead times for January. Some of this material is out 50 weeks. Transformers, if we have to get a substation transformer today, it's out over a year, maybe up to 3 years. So we have to be prepared as much as we can be. Water department's the same thing. Everything's going up. You can see it used to be 6 to 8 weeks for a 3/4 inch meter cut off. 32, 35 weeks. AMI modules, that's how we have all the meter readings comes in on the electric. We can read the gas, and we can read the water. It all comes into this office, and that's how we're able to find all these customers that we're having now that's got water leaks right now. And I'll give you some numbers on what we just found in the last few days. And when we asked for everybody to conserve on the water side, because we have customers that's got leaks and they are totally unaware that they got a leak. Electric department, 2 to 3 weeks on 40-foot poles. So you see that 50 kV transformer, 15, you see that, it used to be $739. It's up almost $2,000 now, 30 to 36 weeks out. So everything has gone up. Telecom, we usually have a lot of the fiber in stock, and some fiber, if it's a 48 count or a 72 count, it's like 40 weeks out to some degree, but that's loosening up some, so we're able to get that material now. This right here is what we also have to work on is by normal retirement. How's our employees, where they are, when they're going to retire, on projections, because our jobs take a lot of time and experience to learn. So we will have somebody here when the older ones leave that we've got the other ones trained to kick in and do the work. So this is very, very important. We have a lot of employees that's going to be eligible to retire. I think 11 on the electric side alone within the next 10 years. And most of these 11 that's in there that I'm talking about, they have 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 years of experience. So when you got that much experience, it's not just hiring somebody to put in that place. They got to have the experience and expertise to do their job. Admin 2 today, electric 3, water maintenance 1, total of 6. Eligible to retire the next 8 years. Administration's got 14, electric's got 12. Water and wastewater's got 1, and others get 6 for a total of 33 employees. So we have to be sure, we're training right now, we got 11 apprentice linemen in training right now, that we hope that we can get them to be a journeyman lineman, because that's the most complicated. All of it's complicated, but the electric side, you just got a whole lot more to learn to get out there, because it's the most dangerous. All of them are dangerous, but we gotta be sure they know what they're doing. Scholarship opportunities and student utility boards. When I came into this position, that was one of the things I got started for students that come out. You have some from the city, county, and Riverside, and we take them through the whole organization. They go to a different department every month, so they study and get involved with what we do, and then they get a scholarship opportunity if they meet all the points. Who's got the highest grade, we'll give a $1,000 scholarship. But also with this, we have some that come to work for us. So we give the younger group a chance, if this is what they want to do, if they're interested and want to learn, we'll give them an opportunity to get a job and work here. So it works out well for us. Our strategic plan, we just got through with our plan about 6 months ago, when the board and us staff, Kim and I went through, and we got all that taken care of. We hope it gets tweaked every year, but the whole thing gets studied from the front to the back on the 3rd year. So we just went through that, and which I didn't do. I'll introduce my folks. I got Kim Post, she's the assistant manager. I have Don, marketing. Maggie's marketing. Nikki is also in the marketing communications, and Riley's a design person for the website and those kinds of things. So sorry about that. But I forgot about it. So, objectives: continue to improve the line day-to-day priorities with our goals built on recent strategic focus areas. We knew when we did our last strategic plan, with the way that the cable business was going, that we were gonna have to get out of the cable business. One reason is when we went into the cable business, most all your off-air channels were free, like 19, 31, 48, 54, channel 2, channel 4, channel 5, and some channels out of Chattanooga. But what ended up happening, they started charging lots of money to get those off-air stations. And then your ESPNs, your Fox Network, your all those type channels, they increased in price, almost tripled. So we started looking at where we are on the telecom side of offering cable services. If we were going to afford cable services, our rates would have been so high that our customers wasn't gonna pay them. So we had to make a decision on what we were gonna do, and it has paid off, because now you don't have a lot of people that's on cable. Most of it's on the internet. You got your Hulu, what's them others, Kim? You got them. Netflix, YouTube, all those kinds of things. And I say, y'all, some of them got it because, see, I don't have internet service in my house yet. So I hadn't got that far. Our mission was to exceed the expectations of our customers with safe, reliable, affordable utility services. Vision to be second to none as a provider of utility services while improving the quality of life of the community we serve. Integrity, dependability, stewardship, community focused. So we went through the SWOT analysis every time you get ready to do a strategic plan. So we got some focus areas that we're working on right now. People, communication and collaboration, customer and community service, operational excellence. Our customer and community service, we've always been involved in the community. Here in the last 3 or 4 months, we've gotten a lot more involved in the community. We're trying to communicate better. We're trying to have hot dog suppers at different areas throughout the county. We've had one at Mimosa, one at Flintville. When the weather turns warm, we'll be at Park City. We got one scheduled for Blanche, we got one scheduled for Howard. That's all of them, right? And one here, the big one's gonna be here. So that's what we're trying to do, communicate with the customers. We got social media now with these ladies that work in communications and marketing. We try to get out there a lot. I try to get more involved now as time allows me to do that. So it's working out well so far. Workforce recruitment and retention, customer relations, financial sustainability, and rate affordability. The third one is the most important to some degree, because we're trying to do everything we can in cutting our budgets, so the rates are not high. Customer relations, we just got through talking a little bit about that. And workforce recruitment and retention is what are we gonna do to keep the ones we got that does an excellent job with top performers. We have a lot of top performers here. They're dedicated employees. A good example, I know this past week with all the weather that we're having, the line crew, some of the water and gas crew, myself, I think Kim to some degree, we never left office. We was here 24/7. So we will be prepared. I know the roads were gonna be bad, we couldn't get people in to go to work, so we all stayed right here in this office, everybody slept in different rooms, those kinds of things, so we could get a good service to our folks that needed it, because the number one thing is public safety. We have to protect the public by trying to keep them warm and with water. Provide a dedicated workforce that is enduring for the foreseeable future, including ensuring all employees are well prepared, they're in depth of expertise and capability. We train every day. That's what this room, when we built this building, this room right here was built to train. We could close it off right there in the center. All the electronics that's on this end of the room is the same electronics that's on that end of the room. You can close the doors, and we train right here on both sides of this right here. We train mainly on safety to be sure everybody's work safe. We train on all of our billing software that changes all the time. We got so many things that changes every day that all the training takes place right here. Objectives: improve customer perception, that FPU is related to customer service. And I found that out during what we've been going through with the ice and snow that we've had this past week, of everything that we tried to do, and there wasn't any FPU customer, except for one day we had a tree that brushed the line and kicked the line out up at Elora, but no FPU customer other than that was out for 48 minutes, I think, has lost service. They've had water, they've had electric, they've had gas, they've had wastewater, so, and telecom services. So all this bad weather we've been having, nobody has lost service to any degree that you can be upset about. But when we get on social media and we start talking about it, and then you get groups of people that want to complain or gripe or negative, all that kind of stuff. But we had so many positive comments this time, it's been unreal. I mean, it's really been unreal. Establish long-term plan for rate stability and financial reserves. When I came into this position, the water and wastewater department had $0. They were broke. Broke. Not a dime. So we tried to come up with a plan of what we were going to do to get water and wastewater to have a reserve. So what we ended up, number one, there was a lot of changes. There was a lot of personnel that just didn't work out. So that's the first thing we had to do. We had to almost start all over again. So the gas, somewhat the same. We ended up, and then we started saving money because everybody was on board and wanted to be part of the team of making this thing work and saving money. So we got all that together. We now have a reserve. We stayed negative in the water and wastewater. It was what, like 10 years when we first come in here or something?
Something like that.
And then we got positive. We've been positive so far every year since. So that's our goal, is to stay positive on the water and wastewater. Especially now if we have a big leak or something, we got the money to fix it. So we're in good shape there. The electric side is very strong as far as financials. Telecom side now, since we've been able to get some grant money, we're strong there, and gas is too. So every department has got reserve. Employee engagement, department execution, quarterly goals. We do this. We set this up. We have a team building committee that puts everything together. And then with employee engagement, sometimes we have employees that say, they come in, we'll talk, I want to do something different. What can I do different? And with those type of employees, you know, they got the initiative that they wanna do something different. So you try to do everything you can to make it work to keep them employed. So we don't wanna lose good employees, so we make changes to satisfy that employee to make it work. Because whatever department they work in, they're gonna be a success. So we strive hard to make that happen. In department execution, we do the same thing. Quarterly goes, we set them up for the employees of asking them for their ideas. You know, I'm an old employee, we got a bunch of young employees, and their thought process is entirely different from what it used to be. So when they come in with new ideas, we mix the young ideas with the old ideas, and then we come together and we come up with a real good idea, because they got real good ideas, and we listen to them. And it's not that because they're young, it doesn't matter, it's because they're young, it does matter. So we try to work with them and make it work for everybody to satisfy. Preparation for inclement weather, I don't have any slides on this, because what we do, with everything that we've been through this past week, it really happens every year. You know, we have a lot of thunderstorms, we have strong winds. You know, they're talking about thunderstorms the rest of this week, a lot of water. Like tonight, for example, our sewer plant will be manned 24 hours because we're gonna have a lot of rain, plus we're getting a lot of rain that the snow, when it melts, it's gonna be coming in too. So we expect that to happen. But you say, how does rain water or snow water get into the sewer system? Well, some of those problems is because there's storm drains that get tied in with our sewer. There are sewer drains that gets tied in with the storm drains. So that's some of those areas that we're working on. But it has cut more once we started rehabbing over 336,000 gallons sometimes in a month since we started rehabbing, that we don't have that like that anymore. On the electric side, like I said, we stayed 2 nights this past week. We stayed all night Friday night, stayed all night Saturday night to be prepared for anything that come in. And we go through a whole training process of making sure we're gonna do this step. If we have an outage over here, if it's a long extended outage, we can swap loads around our whole entire system. If it's not a really, really cold night or a really, really hot night, we can swap it. If we lose this substation, we can move that entire load to another substation. And most of that we can do by sitting in the office at our SCADA system. We sit right there, close switches, open breakers, all that kind of stuff. On the gas side, we got redundancy as well, where we can backfeed on gas if we lose some major industry there. And on the telecom, we got some redundancy. We got 3 lines that come in to serve our telecom customers on the internet side. And wastewater, you can't have a lot of contingencies because it's just gravity flow and the pipe is what it is. So we're working on that to improve those. But we have a emergency load curtailment plan in place where if the loads get really high, we can take that book, we look at what's going on, we know we gotta do this. Every step is in that book. When we switch lines, every step is in a book. If we have to move gas to a different feed, every step to do that is in a book. We also go through and have a load forecast. It's out for 20 years. So 20 years out, we try to be prepared. And then we do a long range system study out 20 to 25 years. So it's not like, well, we're gonna wait and see what we gotta do next year. Our plan is out 20 to 25 years of the direction that we need to move so we can prepare. Another thing off of that, we do work plan books. We got a work plan on the electric side that's 4 years. Then we're working on the new work plan right now that'll go inside this work plan. So for 4 years, we know what we gotta do. Number one, to try to carry the additional loads. Believe it or not, you know, Lincoln County's grown a little bit. We got a lot of house building going on. We gotta be sure we got the right conductor size to handle the loads. And we gotta be sure all of our breakers has got the settings so they don't trip. So that's the work plan, that's what it does. It prepares us, change conductor. You know, I think a couple of years ago, you saw us working on the Huntsville Highway. We changed all of that conductor to handle the load. We just built a new line up Coombs Lane, 3-phase line up through there for another tie. to improve that system. So if we hadn't have been doing what we're doing, we never would have made it through this past week. I can tell you that, we never would have made it. And I'm not gonna say if it gets cold again that we're not gonna have problems. We've been very lucky. We've been very, very lucky. And it takes weather like what we've had to see if we got a weak spot somewhere in our systems. It'll find it for you. On a thunderstorm, the biggest difference is lightning gets us bad. There's a lot of times lightning would absolutely eat our lunch. I mean, it's bad. So, gas side, we got a 5-year work plan of what we intend to do. We got, work plans on the telecom side for what the future looks like on that. And, water side, this plant of this 18 million I was talking about, number one, right now we can produce up to 4 million gallons of water a day. We can do that. But right now we're really only having to produce like 2.4 million gallons a day, but we can go up to 4 million if needed. This plan, when we built the new water plant, we had additions out there, what we call where the trains are located. In each one of those section of trains, there's a membrane filtration. And where you come in the building downstairs, you'll see one of them membranes over there under the steps, that big long white tube. So that's what we have in place that filters the water. It does an excellent job. It's new technology. It's working well for us. But this work plan that we're fixing to do, our plant, we're going to design and build it and get up to 8 million gallons a day. So that's what it's going to produce. So we say, well, why do you need 8 million when you're only just selling 2.4 million? Well, I'm one of those to be prepared for the future. You don't never know. I like to really see that everybody in Lincoln County's got water. You know, we have a lot of people in this county that can't even get water, don't have water. And we would like to see that done at some point in time, getting water, like Petersburg. If you get the Everybody Times that's coming out, we got some information in there talking about how we got contracts with Petersburg. We have contracts with the Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities, and it goes into somewhat of a detail where I'm obligated to serve Fayetteville Public Utility customers first, which is mostly city, because the city owns us, and that's what the contract says. We are obligated to the city customers first. So I had to pull that contract out, and I had to be sure I'm going by that contract by, like, when Petersburg ran out of water, Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities was having water problems too. They depend on us to serve them water. Petersburg, we're the only supplier they got. So we try to get them water, try to get the county water. But when we started having problems, we had to cut Petersburg off, and we had to cut Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities off. Now, what does that mean? That means that our tanks were getting too low to provide service throughout the county. So again, we had to take care of what was here, because we got the hospital, we got the fire department, we got the health facility, all that we got to be sure has water. So but we didn't have to have them off long. When our tank started filling and started recouping and getting more water in the tanks as soon as it was able, we cut Petersburg on, we cut the Lincoln County Board of Public Utilities back on. So, you know, if anybody asks you questions, or if you live in the county, those kinds of things, I'm just explaining to you how we gotta operate, because we gotta keep the tanks full. If we don't have water in them tanks, nobody's gonna get water. Nobody. So, it's very important that we do that. And I'll give you some examples. Since we're going through these leak reports on the water side, with all them readings coming in here to the office, we have a report called excessive leak. So we started looking at that report here a couple of days ago, and we couldn't figure out where a lot of the water was going. So we had a leak report. We took the 45 highest customer leaks, and one customer was losing 30,000 gallons of water a day. We had another customer losing 40,000 gallons of water a day, and they have no idea that they had a leak. So almost 500 of our customers have hit the excessive leak report, and we're checking those out, hoping that, you know, that some of them know. But if they start increasing again, we're gonna have to go back and see what we can do, because we only got one thing to do, we gotta cut the water. So, we had 266,348 gallons in one day being wasted. That's enough water to feed Petersburg. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, when you got water like that, and by the time you treat that many gallons a day of what it takes with our chemicals and everything, that's a very, very, very expensive, very expensive. So, another thing that we're doing is cyber attacks. We have a cyber attack policy in place. We have to be very, very careful about that. And that's just like, we go by a red flag policy that we have in place here at FPU. If you're not on the account, if you got problems with your bills or anything, if the name is not on that account, we cannot talk to you. Now, we have several customers, they'll get upset, well, why can't you talk to me? That's my mother's account, or that's my father's account, or my daughter's account. We can't do it. It's a red flag policy. We don't want somebody calling in here and saying, well, you know, I'm so-and-so, I'm Ken so-and-so. Well, we give out your information, guess what? They're not who they say they are. So if you got an account and you're the only name on that account, I would ask you to put somebody else's name on that account that we can talk to if you have a problem. Because if they're not, we cannot talk to them. And we have a lot of that goes on through divorces. We have a lot of that going on with scams, all that kind of thing. So it's very, very important if you got two names on your account. The other thing I want to talk about just a little bit, on cyber attacks, over 100% of cyber attacks is on your communication devices, iPhones, okay? Another one is manufacturing devices and imaging devices. It's way over 100% that's gone up in cyber attacks. One of the biggest ones we have is, right now, the utilities on cyber attacks is over 104%. That's an increase of 200% since last year. So everybody's trying to hack. We just saw a thing that came out today talking about cyber attacks, and now you got people telling you, I'm a utility worker. You got a high water bill. You got a high electric bill. You need to give me your card information so I can pay your bill so it'll save you money. So be careful about those kind of people, because anytime you have a situation the way we are today, and everybody is in a situation of high bills, because we're gonna have high bills. I mean, the way the weather got 0-degree weather, the electric bills are gonna really be high, water bills are gonna really be high. We're expecting that to happen, but we're gonna try to do the best we can of working with our customers. You know, if they wanna come in, we allow them to come in, let's get a contract set up, let's pay the dispatch so much a month. We try to work with customers like that, because I know already that we're gonna have several that cannot pay their bill. There's gonna be several. You know, a lot of people couldn't get into work, post office, they didn't run, you know, to deliver the bills. So I'll tell you right now, our plan is to delay late payment charges based on all of that. We will not put a late payment charge on the bill or anything. We'll work with customers. We're not gonna do any disconnects, even though the weather's gonna get up to 60 degrees. Our policy is if it's below 32, we don't cut off, or if it's above 100, we don't cut off. But based on the situation we're in, we will not be cutting people's meter off. Probably start taking effect somewhere around the first, second week of February. So, but the late dues are gonna be waived right now until about the same time, because people's just having a hard time, you know, getting in and paying, those kinds of things. We're gonna work with everybody the best that we can. We had a big water line that broke this morning. It was a 6-inch. It was on Clarks Mill Road. We had several customers out for a little bit. Got another one broke right down here in Save-A-Lot. I feel like the more that the ground thaws, I'm expecting more problems. So it's very, very important to us that we keep the water tanks as full as we can keep them. Because if you have a leak on a 12-inch main, it's gonna deplete just about every bit of water we got. Because it'll be coming out of there that fast. That's the reason it's important to keep them full. And that's all of our contingencies that we try to put in place to be prepared for the worst case scenario that could happen. Because again, like I said, it's all about public safety. And it's very, very important to us that we keep the public safe. It's very, very important to us we keep our employees safe. I cannot brag on the employees enough of how dedicated they are. They work hard. Whatever I ask them to do, if it's safe, they don't never question, they don't hesitate. You know, we all get out there together and get the job done. Because when you're working in 5 below 0 weather and you got water out there and it's shooting up your britchy legs and everything else, I mean, that's pretty tough. It's tough. So, you know, you have to take care of your employees. You know, you have to take care of them. Everybody talks, well, you know, their employee, they make a lot of money and all this. We do make good money. We make good money. But there's not a lot of people out there that can do what we do. I'll tell you that. And there's not a lot of people out there as dedicated as our employees. But to keep good employees, you're gonna have to pay them. If you don't pay them, you're gonna lose them. I can tell you, because there's a lot of people now, it's competition. It's all about competition these days. I got linemen. It's very, very versatile. They can work substations. They can work on transmission. They can work on underground. About anything they can do. I got a competitor sitting right up here called Duck River. Duck River will give anything they can give to get our employees because they're that much better trained and more knowledge. So they'll increase their pay to get better employees. Middle Tennessee Electric, a big co-op, they'll pay because they got like 600,000 customers or something like that they got, so they can pay more because they got more revenue coming in. We're a small utility, but when the board and myself, when we go in board meetings, when we get ready to study and look at salaries and pay, we take salary surveys of all departments and where the people are and what they make and what's their responsibilities, how many customers they got. And it's very, very important. It's like I tell our board, if you don't pay them, you're gonna lose them. And our linemen, for example, it takes almost $20,000 to get them trained. $20,000. And close to 9 years of when you can say you can turn them loose out here on the system. Water and wastewater, you almost have to be a chemist to do their job because you got to test. You got to know all the numbers that's dealing with chemistry on testing the water. All that kind of stuff. And it's not somebody that you can find so easy. So there you go, we got another 7 years in those employees where they got to go to Nashville, they got to go to Murfreesboro and all that and take all these tests that's required by the state. And I'm telling you, it is really, really, really hard. And it's several tests to be qualified to run a water plant. Same thing on the wastewater. You got to be certified by the state. You got to take lots of tests to pass to be a certified operator. And it's very, very important. And when you put that time, you put that money, and you got good employees that work, dependable and dedicated, you better do something to keep them. And that's very important to us because you can't find them today. You can't find a lot of people that want to work. And we got them, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to keep them. I'll tell you that. So that's how I feel about our employees. Our board feels the same. So we justify it, we get good people, and when we go in there, we have all the information together, what everybody makes around us. And because if you're an electrician that they used to say Goodman at the time, and you do electrical work here, they try to compare the two, there's no comparison. You know, you work on 480 volts in one location, and we work on 7,200 volts. We work on 14,000 volts. We work on 46,000 volts. There's no comparison. So all them departments are putting their life out there every day. Hopefully nobody's gonna get hurt. But we preach it, safety, 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 safety. That's the number one item on our board agenda, safety. We talk about safety. First thing in a board meeting, how important is safety? Because I tell all of our employees, I say, I want you to go home the same way you showed up this morning to go to work. And we're down here more than we are ever at home. Down here. So, it works really well. You know, I'm proud of our folks. We got really good people that'll help you do anything. If they see you on the side of the road, we saw some shoveling snow, we've been getting people out of ditches, we've been changing flat tires. So they just don't do work for FPU, they do work for the entire community, so. What did I miss, anything? I know I talk fast, Kim and them will tell you when they're taking notes, Britt, you gotta slow down, I can't take my notes, so. We got a lot going on, we just covered, just a little bit of it, but we're very, very, very busy, and, the day never ends. As long as you got them cell phones, I tell the employees, cause we're pretty strict on cell phones, you know, if you're driving down the road and you're on a cell phone, or if you get in an accident, you're on a cell phone, I tell them, I say, I can tell you what that is, I don't do Facebook. My daughter does Facebook, my son does Facebook, and they'll be looking on there and they'll say, Daddy, they talking about you right here. You know, I say, what they saying today? But, I tell them, I said, well, it feels good, you know, haters make me famous anyhow, so, it's really good, but, I tell them, I said, you know, all this is right here. I said, all it is the devil, is what I call it. I said, it's the devil. Because our folks be out working, and you'd be surprised when people drive by, if they're standing there, if they've been working hard, they're just standing there, they'll take a picture, they'll send it in and say, this is what we pay you people not to do nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's amazing, really, really amazing.
You can say that's the contractor's fault.
But, I mean, one of our, customers that's been really giving us heck all the time, I told Kim, I said, I said, something's wrong, this guy here is bragging on us now. So, I said, this is good, we've done something good, but, yeah, we try to do good. We're gonna mess up every now and then, but, it's not because we're not trying to do the right thing, you know, be good, you know, but, unless you got questions, yes, sir.
Well, I have several, but, first of all, I did wanna make that positive comment that, my line under my house broke, and it took me a while to figure it out, but it didn't take me long after I tried to turn on the water and noticed it was just a trickle, and I thought, this isn't right. So I went and tried to figure it out, and I heard it, and I ran to the phone, I called and I said, my line's broke in the house, need somebody to come turn it off at the meter, because I didn't have, my house is old, I don't have a cutoff switch past the meter. So, she transferred me, and I got Donna Vasher's voicemail, and I went, oh no, they're not gonna get this for an hour or two, and I thought, but they were there in 10 or 15 minutes, and I complimented them, thanked them, and said, I guess y'all are busy. Yeah, we're running all over the place, and I wish I'd gotten their names. I'd tell you, and you can just kind of send them out of it or something. But I imagine you're proud of all your employees.
Oh, yeah, they do a good job. They really make me look good sometimes too, but, I really appreciate what they do.
There's an issue with a lot of employers nowadays hiring millennials. Millennials don't tend to want to stay places a long time. Has that been an issue yet for FPU?
It is. What we try to do, you can always tell when you talk to somebody that comes in and interviews for a job, that, number one, how bad do you want a job, how bad do you need a job? But when they tell you, I've never had nothing, those employees will do anything for you that you can think of. I've never had nothing. I don't know what it is to have some. We've hired some that has no experience at all of doing anything, never had a job. These would be 25, 28-year-olds. Some of them 22-year-olds, never worked, don't know how to do anything. But if you can really sit them down and talk to them and give them an opportunity and tell them, this right here is what you can make out of yourself if you decide to stay here and work hard and learn, and they get on board with it, and it ends up being some of the best employees you've had, because they never had nothing. So
I've had the experience in it was hard to find jobs sometimes. I was a new graduate, nursing graduate, nobody was hiring me.
Right.
I didn't have experience. They wanted experience. They weren't willing to invest training time.
now the
that's
ones that get you upset is, we had one come in, I interviewed him in front of my desk, We went through the whole process, offered him, starting pay, and he says, and he did not have a job. He said, I can't take that. I said, I thought you didn't have a job. Well, I don't. He said, but I had to take cut pay. I said, cut pay? Yeah. He said, the Biden checks and unemployment was getting him more money than what we could pay him. So I said, what about the benefits? You don't need no benefits, you know, any of that stuff? No, it don't matter. It don't matter. So he didn't take the job because he said he's gonna have to take cut pay. So we thought that was pretty interesting.
You mentioned something about, I always look for figures. You said, 9 years to train a lineman, no experience, average. Is that average or maximum?
That's an average. Because we told them, they got several classes they had to go through with what we call the Tennessee Valley Public Fire Association. And it's real big, thick books. So you got 10 modules you gotta take for each step. You go through 5 steps of being a lineman through the bookwork. A lot of bookwork. So when they get through the bookwork, and then we had to push it, but they had to pass everything. And we give them a total of 9 years. If you're not where you need to be in 9 years, as bad as I hate to say, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go. You know, so.
You gotta set a limit on training.
Absolutely.
I know that from the military.
But I haven't had that to happen yet. The worst thing that we got that, people have a problem with, most of all of our outside folks has got to have commercial driver license. Because they drive the big trucks, they pull the big trailers, and those CDLs, what they call them, it's hard to pass the test. And then you gotta go drive a tractor trailer truck or a big dump truck, you know, and some of them just, they just can't do it, and we have to keep sending them and keep sending them. And, that's the most difficult test that they have to take today is the CDLs. What do you say, Kim? The written test is hard, driving test is hard, because you gotta do a walk around, you gotta point every little item out that's in the trucks that you're in, all that kind of stuff, and it's tough to pass it. But we got it, thank goodness.
You got, more than one person handling cybersecurity?
We got 2 people,
Okay,
actually really 3, but 2 almost full-time.
okay. That's a reassuring.
Yes, it is.
That's too overwhelming for one person.
2 men were working for the state highway department, leaning on their shovels talking. One took his shovel and cut a snail. I could do it. He said, you didn't have to do that. He said, he's followed me all day and I'm tired of it. Well, I'm sure
That's
he'll
pretty
be
bad.
happy for it.
That's pretty bad. Yes, ma'am?
I thought a little lighthearted.
Do you, hire people that have not, do not have a college degree? Do you hire
We do.
employees
We
without
do.
a college degree and
Yes.
then they can learn
Yes,
here?
ma'am. I don't have a 4-year college degree.
Okay.
I have a 2-year college degree.
So if they're really interested in this, they really can get ahead?
Yes, ma'am. They got the opportunity. All they gotta do is make it. When I hire somebody, I will tell them, if you don't make it, it's your fault. Because we're gonna do everything to get you there. If you don't get there, it's because you didn't wanna get there. But we hire everybody on a 6-month probationary period. If they're doing a really good job, and we see that it's gonna be positive, 3 months, we put them on full-time. Some that we kinda question a little bit, they hang out till 6 months. But that's the way that I came out, because when I got out of high school, I worked, for CFW through the summertime, because I was getting ready to go to school. And then, Paul Campbell was the superintendent here, and I went to church with Paul, and he tapped me on the shoulder, he said, how would you like to come to work for the Fayetteville electric system? You know, because back in my day, it was either electric system or the phone company. If you got one of those jobs, you had a good job. And I said, well, Mr. Paul, I'm really, planning to go on to school. And he said, I tell you what, I'll have you making more money than you'll ever make by the time you get out of school. Well, it still took a little while, and so I came to work. Actually, my first job, I was mowing grass and picking up paper. That's what I was doing through the whole summer, mowing grass. And then I had the opportunity to go in and be a journeyman lineman. So I went through the whole years of training to be a journeyman. And then when I topped out as journeyman, I went back to school and come back and I had an opportunity to be the Director of Engineering and Operations up here. So I've done that for several years. Then I started building substations. We built 7 substations, I think, while I was in that department. That was my project, was to build substations. So then I went over to doing that. And then we went into the telecom business, and my manager then asked me if I'd want to take on that project of going into the cable business. I said, now that was that plus whatever else she was doing. So I said, sure. I didn't ever turn down anything. I always looked at opportunity. So I started doing that, and then we still went back to Director of Engineering Operations, and then I had the opportunity to be in the position I'm in. But when I worked through all of that, I was in every department. I worked in the warehouse, I worked in customer billing, all that kind of stuff. I spent no time in accounting. I knew I didn't want to be where I didn't know nothing about it. So that's the reason we got Kim and some others. But it's paid off. It's been good to me. Worked hard, but anybody can do it. If they want to do it, anybody can do it. Because I started at about as low as you can start. So I was making $2.65 actually. I remember that. But you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to learn, you learn. So that way it makes me feel when I hire folks, if you want to do it, I know it can be done. It's just up to you if you want to do it or not. So, but we got a lot of folks without a college education. You don't have to have a college education to be a lineman. You don't have to have a college education to be in the gas, any department at all, except for we have 2 CPAs in accounting. We have some degreed accountants, I think, right? So that right there, that department right there probably is what we require them to have a college education. Because they gotta run the numbers, they gotta be right, and when they get on my desk, if you take an operations man, that's what I call myself. I say, if you take an operations man, they find a mistake from an accountant, we got real problems. So, but that's how we look at it.
Britt, I want to really thank you for doing this for us. Thank you for the wonderful lunch. Despite the fact that you don't like to go on Facebook, that your interviews with Elk Valley Times was really helpful to me because, you know, twice a day we were getting an update on the situation with TVA and looking forward, are we going to have problems? It's really helpful.
Thank you.
I very much appreciate that. I appreciate your people that kind of set that up to make that happen. But we're going to take a picture of you and I shaking hands.
Okay.
You'll never see it because it's going to be on Facebook. But, thank you much.
You're welcome, mighty welcome.
You got it? Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, thank y'all. I appreciate you coming, giving us an opportunity to talk to you. We're trying to get out in more groups, like your group. We talked to the Rotary, we talked to the Lions Club, we talked to you all now, and we're gonna do it more often just so everybody will understand what we're all about, what we're trying to accomplish, and the direction we're moving. It's not a fly-by-night kind of thing. We make plans or decisions. It's long-term planning.
So, and everybody who's an FPU customer for your electricity and your water, let's give them a big round of applause. This was a once in a 30-year event, and you brought us through with flying colors, so thank you.
Thank you.
One of my friends first during this thing, we called FPU to find out if our water meter was going bad. Cause, you know, I heard this rushing sound, I wasn't sure what it was. And then we asked somebody to come out and shut off our water, cause it was really bad.
Yes, ma'am.
And he came out in the middle of the night, cause I'm a night person and I usually don't go to bed very early. Anyway, he came out and we thanked him for coming out. He said, that's the job. And he said, you expect it when you go to work here. He said, that's just the job.
Yes, ma'am. They're all, like I said, they're all
It's
very
so
good.
nice.
Thank you for that. I'll pass that on too.
Okay, hang on just a minute, we got about